Hi friends, Izziana here today, and today we're working on a new sneak peek. A couple of weeks ago, I gave you a sneak peek about the Imogen top before we got started creating it, and I was so excited. Everybody was so excited about it and gave such good feedback that I thought, I'm going to give you a sneak peek to another pattern that we're going to be creating here soon. It's coming to the Ellie Mac website hopefully soon, and I hope you love it as much as you loved the last sneak peek. And this is the finished make. Well, this is another version of that top. I think it turned out so cute. Anyway, all right, let's get started. All right, let's get started. I'm super excited. I got it all cut out. I'm going to do something a little bit different with this pattern, which is, well, two things. I realized the other day I sewed up a really chunky fabric when I made the Celeste cardigan, and I realized that sewing the chunkier fabrics on a stretch stitch on my sewing machine, like a zigzag stitch, does 100 times better than doing it on my serger. It just handles better. It doesn't crunch it up as much, so it's not so wavy. It looks so good, so I'm doing that again, especially because I'm going to do a little bit of a different technique. Well, instead of sewing my sides, right sides together at the shoulders and the sleeves, I'm gonna sew them on wrong sides together because I want to see the seam. So I'm gonna have the exposed seams. Now, if you don't like that, that's okay. You can put it right sides together and your seams would be on the inside, but I'm gonna put them wrong sides together because I want to see those seams. I don't know. I just think it adds a little bit. I've seen it a lot lately. Sometimes I know I see it and I'm like, that does not look good. But sometimes I see it, I'm like, that looks really cool. So we're gonna try it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're gonna grab this back bodice and we're gonna place our front bodice right sides together at the shoulders. I said right sides together, wrong sides together. Now, I know it's hard to tell in this fabric which one's the right side and which one's the wrong side. You're just gonna have to believe me that I'm going to do the wrong side because you'll see it later anyway. Once I do it, you're gonna be able to see anyway. All right, let's go sew that up. All right, I'm going to be using a zigzag stitch and I'm gonna be lengthening. Since I'm going to do it wrong sides together, I wanna make sure that I'm using a thread that is a coordinating thread because it will show. Since I'm doing exposed seams, I'm going to trim my seam allowance a little bit so that way it's not a really thick seam here. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and attach the sleeves. Once again, I'm doing that wrong sides together. So I wanna make sure that when I open it, I can see this seam and this seam as well. So that way I'm showing it. That's the one thing I'm kind of like, am I gonna end up sewing it the wrong way? And then when I finish up, I'll have some seams on the outside and some seams on the inside because I'll be like so lost. Honestly, what would be a good stitch here too, if we don't want to do zigzag stitch because we don't want to show the zigzag stitch, I'll do the side seam with a triple stitch. That might have been a better stitch to go with, and I'll show you that. All right, now to do side seams. So I'm going to, again, wrong sides together, which looks like right sides together because you see the seams on here, but it's wrong sides together. I'm going to sew up that whole side seam. Okay. At the same time, I'm gonna grab my cuffs and I'm going to prepare them. This is the long cuff. So I'm going to do right sides together. The cuff, I'm not going to do wrong seams showing. I'm just gonna do it regularly. So I'm doing right sides together. But if you want those seams to show on your cuffs as well, you can do that. Forgot to mention the triple stitch. I'm gonna go to my triple stitch, which is my number 5. I'm gonna do a little bit of a longer triple stitch and see how that does. Okay, so here's my triple stitch. It's just like a straight stitch, but it is stretchy. So that actually might be the best way to go because then you don't see the zigzag stitch. I'm still gonna trim my fabric closer to it here you see the zigzag stitch, but when you trim your fabric closer to it, you don't see it as much, and you can actually open those seams a little bit and flatten them out, and then you'll be fine. As long as you do with a thread that matches. All right, I'm gonna grab my cuffs, turn them right side out, and then I'm going to attach them to my sweater. And I am also going to attach them right sides together. I'm not gonna, so I don't have to see that seam. Okay, now for my band. So the bottom band, we're going to just fold right sides together. I'm sorry, wrong sides together, because we're really just going to attach it to the bottom of our sweatshirt. So open up that sweatshirt bottom, right side up, though it looks like wrong side because you can see my seams. And we're just going to attach it here at the bottom. If you wanted to see that raw edge again right here, you can definitely do that. But I don't really care to, so we're just going. So I'm gonna start on the sides first, go on the other end and do the same thing. Okay, so I'm gonna face my band right sides together at the bottom and sew that closed right here. Ooh, just a straight stitch will do. Do the same for both. Make sure it's straight and not messed up. And then I'm gonna trim this and flip it so that we can attach it. So we'll trim this down a little bit right here so it folds nicely over. And then we're going to attach. And now I'm attaching right sides together. And if you wanna see that raw edge like everywhere else around here, you can attach it wrong sides together. But I don't know that I do. I might change my mind when I make this again with my final fabric. But for now, I'm just gonna do it this way and see what it looks like. And we're going all the way around the neckline. And we're basically done. We'll just sew on buttons. And I'm just, like I said, I'm just sewing the buttons on. I am not doing a placket. You could do a regular, right here, you could put some interfacing into this right here and create some buttonholes and add your buttons, and it would be a functioning placket. But I'm not going for the functional placket today, so we're just, you know, going the easy way out. The easy way out. Okay, here at the corner, this is a corner area, so I'm gonna go and turn over. So it has kind of more of like a good turn here. Y'all, I'm barely even gonna have enough thread to sew my buttons on. This is how much thread I have left after sewing my sweater. Last but not least, adding buttons. And I love this part of it. I love to do this part by hand stitching the buttons. And I found these silver buttons, which I think look great with this. So I'm just gonna measure them out, make sure they're evenly spaced, but I'm gonna sew them on, and then I'm gonna show you what this looks like on. I'm super excited. All right, friends, we are done with this sew. I think this turned out super cute. What do you think? Are you looking forward to this pattern? Comment below and let me know what you want to see in this pattern. Now, this is just a draft, so there's still going to be a lot more. It might be a little bit more oversized. A couple of things might change. So comment below and let me know what you would like to see from this pattern. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Comment, like, share, subscribe if you haven't, and go grab you some Ellie Mac patterns and sew them up. I'll see you all next time.